The security camera captured something extraordinary. That Tuesday afternoon, a small girl pressing her plastic doctor's toy against her dog's side, murmuring gentle reassurances. When Jessica replayed the recording hours later, searching for a moment of innocent sweetness, she witnessed something that stopped her heart. Bruno, their massive Newfoundland, had reacted with a piercing cry, not because of Emma's gentle pressure, but from something lurking beneath, something concealed from adult eyes. A single afternoon of childhood pretend had recorded what veterinary experts would later describe as medically improbable for a 5-year-old to identify. What this kindergartner uncovered was so extraordinary. It rescued a cherished life and transformed everything her parents understood about instinct, devotion, and the mysterious connection between children and their animal companions. The perfect life interrupted. The Patterson home had always radiated warmth, the special kind that exists where a gentle behemoth of a canine and an inquisitive young girl become inseparable. Bruno, a 150-pound Newfoundland with deep amber eyes, had been Emma's constant companion since her first breath in this world. Wherever she wandered, he trailed behind. During her sleep, he maintained his vigil. But approximately a month ago, everything shifted. His food bowl is still full, Jessica Patterson observed, staring at the untouched premium kibble. Worry tinged her words with sharpness. She'd invested nearly an hour preparing his meal, the specialized diet their veterinarian insisted upon, only to find it sitting there, growing cold. Her husband, David, barely looked up from his computer screen, massaging the bridge of his nose. He'd been pulling 18-hour shifts recently, drowning in project deadlines. Perhaps he's simply aging, he mumbled, exhaustion hollowing his voice. Animals have their moods. He's barely 7 years old. Jess, I can't process this right now. The strain between them had been accumulating like gathering storm clouds. Sleep had become elusive for both. David buried himself in work pressure. Jessica lay awake obsessing over Bruno's peculiar transformation. The dog had begun spending entire afternoons positioned by the glass door, gazing at emptiness. During silent moments, they could swear moisture glistened in his eyes. "Mommy, why does Bruno look so lonely?" Emma appeared in the kitchen entrance, her tiny features twisted with distress. She wore her treasured rainbow nightgown and hugged her stuffed penguin tightly. "He's not lonely, Angel, just sleepy." "No," Emma's voice carried that absolute conviction unique to young children. "Something's hurting inside him." "I know it." Jessica felt her composure fracture. "Emma, sweetheart, that's not. Animals don't. He'd probably just ate something that disagreed with him. Please, just go entertain yourself, okay? Mommy needs a moment." Emma's eyes welled, but she remained silent. She simply walked to where Bruno rested on his cushion, his enormous head drooping on his paws, and nestled against him. The dog didn't respond, didn't offer his customary tail sweep or affectionate lick-a, detail everyone overlooked then. Bruno's respiration had shifted, subtly irregular, his ribcage expanding and contracting with unusual effort. The night everything changed. That evening, the crying began. Jessica jolted awake at 3:12 a.m. to sounds she'd never heard Bruno make, mournful, desperate whimpers echoing from the den. She stumbled from bed, consciousness foggy, and discovered Bruno moving in agitated circles. His eyes shone with something resembling panic, and there, standing in the shadowed corridor like a tiny specter, was Emma. "I told you," the child breathed. "I told you something inside hurts. Emma, return to bed. You'll make yourself ill staying awake." "But Bruno needs help." "What Bruno needs," Jessica snapped, instantly regretting her tone, "is quiet. And so do you. We'll contact the clinic tomorrow if he continues acting unusual. But right now, everyone must rest." The words suspended in darkness between them. Words Jessica would replay with suffocating remorse in coming days. Emma's eyes brimmed with tears, but she complied, shuffling toward her bedroom with her penguin trailing across the floor. Bruno watched her departure, his whimpering intensifying as though desperate to follow. but physically unable. If only they had understood that their window was closing. If only they had trusted when innocence spoke truth that experience rejected. A child's determination. The crisis arrived on a Thursday afternoon. Jessica had reached her breaking point. Bruno's behavior had spiraled: constant pacing, persistent crying, complete food refusal for nearly a week. She'd scheduled a veterinary visit for the following Monday, but wondered privately whether boarding in temporarily might provide everyone relief from this unrelenting anxiety. Maybe he should stay elsewhere briefly, she suggested to David that morning, just until we identify the problem. Emma's becoming too emotionally entangled with his fluctuating condition, and I can't sustain this stress. David appeared startled. You want to remove Bruno from our home? Not permanently, temporarily. He's affecting our entire household. They didn't realize Emma was eavesdropping from the staircase landing. That afternoon, while Jessica sorted linens in the master bedroom, Emma made her decision. She marched to her toy chest and extracted her medical playset: the plastic stethoscope, the pretend syringe, all the instruments she employed when playing doctor with her stuffed companions. I'm going to heal you, Bruno, she declared with unwavering certainty. Mommy can't understand, but I can. Bruno lay motionless on his bed, except for his strained breathing. When Emma approached, he raised his head marginally, his tail offering the faintest movement, the first vitality he'd displayed in days. All right, Bruno, stay very still. I need to hear your heart. She positioned the toy stethoscope against his chest, sliding it around methodically like she'd observed medical personnel do on television. Her expression radiated seriousness, focus. Bruno remained completely still, as though comprehending this moment's significance. Then Emma shifted the stethoscope to a particular location near his left ribcage, just beneath his shoulder blade. Bruno shrieked, not a playful sound or casual complaint, but a sharp, agonized cry that made Emma recoil in shock. His entire body had contracted, his eyes clenching shut. Mommy, Emma screamed. Mommy, hurry. The video that changed everything. Jessica raced in, adrenaline surging. What's happened? Emma, I specifically told you, but I was helping. I was examining his heart, and he made a pained noise right here. She indicated Bruno's chest. You probably applied too much pressure. Emma, honestly, if you can't. Jessica. David had materialized in the doorway, phone extended. I've been filming her, for keepsakes. But watch this. He replayed the footage he'd captured from the hallway, initially intending to preserve a sweet memory of his daughter playing veterinarian. But reviewing it revealed something that seized his attention. The precise instant Emma touched that specific location, Bruno's reaction transcended mere discomfort. It was acute agony. His eyes had bulged. His mouth had parted in a soundless gasp before the shriek erupted. Replay it, Jessica whispered. They watched it 5 consecutive times. Each viewing made reality more inescapable. This wasn't theatrical behavior or roughhousing. This was something else. Something catastrophically wrong. We need to get him to emergency care, David stated, his voice suddenly commanding. Immediately. The race against time. The emergency animal hospital sat 20 minutes away, but the drive felt eternal. Bruno stretched across the rear seat, Emma's small hand resting carefully on his head, deliberately avoiding the area that had triggered his pain response. I'm sorry I didn't trust you, Jessica whispered to her daughter, emotion constricting her throat. I'm so incredibly sorry, sweetheart. Dr. Sarah Mitchell greeted them at the entrance, her demeanor professionally composed but her movements swift and purposeful. She'd dedicated 15 years to emergency veterinary practice, and Jessica could observe her evaluating Bruno with experienced eyes. Tell me everything. David presented the video. Dr. Mitchell watched it once, then immediately summoned her assistant. I need radiographs immediately, and prepare for cardiac ultrasound. What's wrong? Rachel's voice fractured. What's happening to him? I won't speculate before confirmation, but that pain response in that precise location deeply concerns me. How long has he shown lethargy? Nearly a month, possibly longer. Dr. Mitchell's expression grew grave. "Understood. Please wait here. This may require considerable time." The unbearable wait. The waiting area became their prison. 30 minutes passed, 50, 90. Emma sat between her parents, unusually subdued, her toy stethoscope gripped in her hands. "What if I damaged him?" she whispered. "You didn't hurt him, Princess," David said, embracing her. "You rescued him. You're the only person who recognized what we all missed." When Dr. Mitchell finally appeared, her face was solemn, yet her eyes held something remarkable: admiration, perhaps even astonishment. "Mr. and Mrs. Patterson, your daughter may have preserved your dog's life." The words seemed to reverberate in the sterile corridor. Impossible, yet undeniably true. "Bruno has developing hypertrophic cardiomyopathy, a cardiac condition. It's degenerative, frequently lethal without intervention. What's extraordinary is that your daughter somehow located the exact position where his heart has begun abnormal enlargement. The pain he exhibited when she contacted that spot that represented genuine cardiac distress." Jessica's legs failed. David steadied her, his own complexion drained of color. "How much time did we have?" Dr. Mitchell's pause spoke volumes before her words emerged. "If this had continued another week, perhaps 10 days, we'd be conducting a completely different conversation." The cardiac stress was approaching critical levels. He could have experienced sudden heart failure at any moment. The miracle of recovery. They brought Bruno home 4 days later with medications and a treatment protocol that Dr. Mitchell assured would grant him years of healthy existence. The transformation was instantaneous. Within hours of beginning treatment, Bruno's eyes regained their sparkle. He consumed his first complete meal in weeks. The whimpering ceased. Dr. Mitchell had elaborated fairly that first evening after Bruno's stabilization, canines possess remarkable abilities to disguise pain and illness. It's instinctual, a survival mechanism. What makes this situation so exceptional is that a -1-year-old child identified something we adults attributed to normal aging behavioral patterns. But how did she perceive it? David had questioned. "I cannot provide a medical explanation, but there exists something profound about the bond between young children and animals. They interpret emotions and physical conditions in ways we've conditioned ourselves to ignore. They honor their instincts without questioning them." The veterinarian had paused then, regarding Emma with something resembling wonder. "In my 15 years of practice, I've witnessed nothing comparable to this." Without her persistence, her imaginative play, her pure determination to help her companion, Bruno wouldn't have survived. Jessica had broken down, then powerful sobs racking her frame. All those evenings she'd dismissed Emma's warnings. All the moments she'd instructed her daughter to stop obsessing over the dog. The remorse was devastating. "She rescued him," Dr. Mitchell stated simply, "when none of us could, healing more than hearts." That first evening home, after Bruno had settled comfortably, with a satisfied stomach and animated tail, Jessica discovered Emma sitting on the floor beside him. The little girl was weeping softly, tears cascading down her cheeks. "Baby, what's troubling you? I thought you were sending Bruno away forever. I heard you talking about it." Jessica's heart shattered completely. She collapsed to her knees beside her daughter and pulled her close. "Emma, I am profoundly sorry. I was exhausted and frightened, and I didn't comprehend. You were correct about everything. You understood Bruno's heart was suffering when I couldn't perceive it. You saved him. Do you grasp that? You rescued your best friend's life." Emma wiped her eyes with her sleeve. "I just loved him. That's the only thing I knew. And that's the most important thing." They sat together in silence. Then Emma gently positioned her small hand on Bruno's chest, not the spot that had caused agony, but over his heart, where it now pulsed strong and rhythmic. "Feeling better, Bruno?" The Newfoundland lifted his massive head and pressed his nose against Emma's forehead, his tail sweeping across the floor with enthusiasm they hadn't witnessed in weeks. Then he did something unprecedented. He gently grasped Emma's hand in his mouth, not biting, simply holding it there. A gesture expressing trust, gratitude, a connection transcending species and age and rational explanation. The story that touched millions. David captured the moment on video when he shared it online with the caption, "My -1-year-old daughter rescued our dog's life with a toy stethoscope." He never anticipated the response. Within 72 hours, millions had viewed the footage of Emma's examination and Bruno's pained reaction. Comments flooded in by the tens of thousands. Children perceive what we've forgotten to seek. That little girl possesses more intuition than most medical professionals. Never disregard a child's instincts concerning their animals. The narrative spread across every platform, featured on national news programs, discussed in veterinary conferences. Dr. Mitchell herself appeared on morning television, explaining the medical phenomenon and stressing the significance of trusting the bond between children and animals. But within the Patterson household, life simply resumed its natural pattern with one essential difference. When Emma expressed concern about anything, they listened, always. The wisdom in small voices. Sometimes the boundary between survival and tragedy, protected not by decades of training or sophisticated equipment, but by a child's pure, uncompromised devotion. What we dismiss as fantasy often perceives truths that experience has conditioned us to overlook. Emma didn't rescue Bruno because she comprehended veterinary cardiology or medical diagnostics. She saved him because she loved him without conditions, without skepticism, without the barriers that instruct adults to be sensible or pragmatic. The heart communicates in dialects that reason cannot decipher, and sometimes, just sometimes, the smallest hands grasp the greatest miracles if only we possess the wisdom to believe in them. In the end, what was truly discovered that day transcended Bruno's illness. It was a revelation that intuition, particularly intuition born from unconditional love, can perceive what our trained perception cannot. That the most profound healing originates with simply trusting in love, in connection, in the quiet voice insisting something is wrong even when the world declares everything is fine. If this story touched your heart, expanded your understanding of a child's intuition, or reminded you to listen when love speaks, share it with others, because sometimes the smallest voices deliver the most vital messages, and the purest hearts can see what wisdom overlooks. If this story touched your heart, please support the channel by liking, subscribing, and sharing it with someone who needs a little hope today. See you in the next story.